People come from all over the world just to go see those towers.
It showed New York as a superpower, super city.
Just 2 days ago, 42-year-old Phil Bachman and 27-year-old Anthony Christopherson worked together for Bank of America, high above Manhattan, in World Trade Center Tower 1.
In July, we moved up to the 81st floor, where helicopters would actually ride underneath us.
They both came to work early this past Tuesday, where it was business as usual.
It's early this Tuesday morning, the 11th of September, 2001.
But not for long.
8:50 or so, I heard a boom.
Together, Tom Kaminsky, Chopper 880.
All right, Pat, we are just currently getting a look at the World Trade Center. We have.
So when it hit, first thing I did was, I got knocked down.
Anthony jumped back up and looked out the window. What he saw horrified him.
Some people, debris falling, a lot of ashes, a lot of fire, a lot of smoke. That was so scary. That's when I started, panicking.
Everyone on the 81st floor ran for the emergency exit and started down the stairs. At first, they made steady progress.
We're on the 50th floor, the 40th floor, the 30th floor. But as we're going down, we're seeing firemen resting. The sweat is dripping off their face, and they're carrying oxygen tanks. And you start to think, are you going to make it?
Just a few blocks north, Phil's girlfriend, Helen Orloff, was at work, watching TV and wondering the same thing.
I became hysterical, and I tried to call him, and I couldn't get him, obviously. He kept saying that my heart is in that building.
Phil finally made it to the lobby of Tower 1.
Lights went out, 3 cops jumped on top of me. One guy gave me his helmet, and I covered my face, and they just said, remain calm.
They were in darkness, the air thick with smoke and dust.
And the cop said, let's get out of here, and he started feeling his way around. Once we saw that bit of light, I don't think anything would have stopped us. I walked out, it was literally a war zone. There was ashes all over.
Right.
There was small balls of fire. There was concrete, glass as far as you can see.
Everywhere.
As far as you can see.
Anthony came out a few seconds later. Again, everyone seemed to be safe. But then...
Oh no! Oh no!
Maybe 15 seconds after I walked out, that's when the second tower came down.
And I just turned around.
That's exactly what I did.
And you could actually see it come down. They kept telling us, go north, keep going north, don't look back.
That's when I ran, and if I hold my hand in front of my face, I would not be able to see it.
Come to the light!
It was so horrible.
I got 2 blocks away from the World Trade Center, and the first building went down.
News photographer Don Hallisey was covering the disaster for the New York Post.
Of course, everybody's running away from it, and I'm a press photographer, I'm running to it.
Hallisey ran towards the wreckage of Tower 2 and started shooting photos, getting closer and closer to ground zero.
And then we heard like this growing, rumbling, and it sounded like an avalanche.
It was Tower 1 coming down.
There was this blast of warm air. It wasn't hot, it was warm. And it picked me up and threw me up against the wall of the building that was...
You were picked up off the ground?
Physically picked up off the ground. And I'd say like I was about from here to the end of the partition here.
Yeah.
And I'm screaming, anybody out there? Anybody alive? And my voice was the only voice out there.
How did you get out of this?
Well, I started walking around like in very short steps because I didn't want to trip over anything. And as I said, after about 20 minutes or so, it started to settle and the sun came out. It was like the weirdest thing.
By this time, Phil and Anthony had finally run far enough to be out of harm's way.
And then I finally collapsed, and the EMS was so good. you know, they treated everybody. They just said, sit here. They gave me oxygen.
Kept getting phone calls at my desk, and I got this message, and you know, you keep deleting because and all you kept praying is, come on, God, let me hear his voice. Come on. And then I got, Helen, it's me. The building fell down on me. I'm sorry, don't be mad. I love you. I'm on my way home.
I couldn't see anything. Nothing.
And my whole department started to cheer.
Look at it now. It's just like, it's like nothing was there. Think how many bodies are still there.
But as for Don Hallisey, he's left with anger.
I've never had this kind of hate before. Never. Those son of a bitches. I was saying there better be a hole in the ground somewhere. Because if Bush doesn't do something about this, I mean, this is not terrorism. This is an act of war.
A lot of the survivors we talked to are angry. Doug Brown, an executive who worked on the 70th floor of the World Trade Center for Morgan Stanley, got straight to the point when he said, quote, "On Tuesday, somebody tried to kill me. With that kind of anger, expectations are high that the government will do something." Dan?
Harold Dow, live here in New York City. Events of the last few days have already changed so much for so many. Life as we know it may never be quite the same. With that in mind, here's Bill Legatuda.
As Americans went about their business today, took their kids back to school, resumed their routines, there was an almost universal refrain. First, defiance. We will not let terrorists dictate how we lead our lives.
If that happens, they've won. I'm not going to leave New York. I'm not going to run.
Then, reality. Some things will have to change.
Do you think that things are different from this moment on?
I definitely think things are different from this moment on.
Definitely be more aware of my surroundings and the individuals that are around me.
December 7th, 1941.
This is not the first time horrible events have changed our society. Pearl Harbor showed us how suddenly an enemy can strike. In the early 60s, we learned our leaders could be taken. In the 70s and 80s, that our jetliners could be hijacked. In the 90s, that terror can come from within. Then, this week. Do you think that this is a moment that has changed everything?
No, I think absolutely.
Dr. Harold Koplowitz is a New York City psychiatrist.
I think there are certain moments in history that make us think differently. I think that Pearl Harbor did that. I think the Holocaust did that. And this kind of evil does that to us also.
If, from this week forward, our way of thinking, our mindset has changed forever, if this was a watershed event, then how do we begin to prepare the next generation of Americans, our children, to live in a different, perhaps much less carefree world?
Just seeing so much smoke and so much flames, and these people jumping out of the Twin Towers was, I think, one of the most horrifying things that I saw all day.
15-year-old Jane Sussman was at school just 4 blocks from the World Trade Center when it was attacked on Tuesday.
Do you think that you've changed forever, having seen what you've seen?
How could I not? It was awful. I don't think, as a person viewing America, viewing other countries, I'll ever be the same.
That concerns her mother, Ruth, a criminal court judge.
I mean, I hope that the kids can get back to, having fun and just having the carefree, innocent existence that they should have at this point.
Parents just have to bring the topic up. They have to discuss it somewhat, and maybe it's in a small little bite-sized piece, maybe it's a longer conversation, but the kids have to know there's a safe place for them to discuss and get honest, true answers.
For the future, will a show of guns on the streets be the norm? How much security will we tolerate? Jeffrey Lesoff, a lawyer.
I'm sure we're going to have to give up maybe certain of our rights just to make sure that we're safe.